Hi there. Quick update from me because I haven't posted in quite some time. I've been taking a break for a number of reasons, but the biggest, most important reason is that I have had some pretty extreme, very large cycles to close out ahead of November, karmically, personally, so that I can move through whatever it is I've been moving through and enter a new chapter, which is very important. So I've been doing that, learning the lessons, definitely somewhat involuntary pinch, and that is in the collective energy. So it's like there is a certain level of the video game, a certain area within the maze that we've become very familiar with, and it doesn't actually suit us that much anymore. And the more we prolong exiting it by our own volition, the more that these avenues that we're like, oh, that's an exit, that's a way out, those are going to start to fill in naturally or not be as available. And I can definitely speak to this. Sorry, I'm not like opening my eyes, it's really bright out. But I have, accidentally sort of closed myself into some corners that I've been navigating my way out of. And so the collective message on that note is to take a closer look at some of the areas that we might be backing ourselves into forcible cycle closeouts instead of the choices that we have available to us. Truly, with the planetary alignments and everything that's been going on, I kind of think that it's unstoppable. I think that certain things are unpreventable that we agreed to in some regard for our own learning and highest evolution. Like I can't even put into words how much integration and clearing some of the things that I've been doing lately have led me to. And I'm going to speak on that more in a little bit more later when I kind of go into some of the energy updates that I've been gathering for the past week. But when you have to do hard things, you often don't like it, but you can also study the expanding capacity that you take on in those moments to do new things, to do hard things, to do things in a way that you haven't done before in order to make something happen out of necessity. And I've been kind of studying that process within myself. The other thing I wanted to share just briefly in this tiny little break during my day today, it's Monday the 28th, was that the connection that nature can bring right now should not be understated. I was doing an activation in the woods the other day, like a guided meditation, and I truly, as a hybrid starseed, I truly need to I didn't see him back there, that's funny. Truly need to make sure that I spend as much time in nature as possible. And I felt like I didn't even have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You can go into nature and it will take away what you don't need and it will give you what you do need. Especially if you ask and apply intention and everything to that as like a meditation. But it was like every level of the physical and the elemental experience seeped into me. Like the wind, the groundedness of the earth, the rays of the sun, the leaves falling, like every little droplet of that motion in that natural environment was different kinds of medicine for me that I have been needing more than anything else. A lot of time I've been in a hermit energy lately, a lot of time to myself so that I have the time that I need to recalibrate. Actually, the reason, aside from all of that, the reason why I started this video is because I was thinking earlier today about how the split, this convergence that we're going through spiritually, multidimensionally, it's really hard to understand. There's a lot of people putting information out about it. I myself am always at sort of like, the cusp of my own understanding, searching for more meaning, waiting to feel things integrate as I perceive them so that I can make sense and translate my own experience, my own lens on what's happening to be a guide for others, whoever, connects with my energy and resonates with me or likes the way I talk about stuff, finds it helpful, whatever. We all relate to what's happening in very, very different ways. And I feel like something that is super common is that there are a lot of people seeking answers and starting to question an existence that exclusively takes place in the in the third dimensional reality, because it's easy to see that there's more going on. Or, I think it's very easy to see some people are completely asleep to it still. Some people are starting to question, but some people are fully immersed with multiple levels of existence, multidimensionally, and all of that. So we're all over the place. But I think that the people that are starting to question more and finding all of this content and stuff, there are these different videos that are talking about the shifts and ET contact and all of this stuff, disclosure, all of these things. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, as far as like, the candor of the information, the resonance of it, if it carries convolution, if it's purely channeled. I don't want to get into all of that either. Whether or not everything is good or bad is actually still functional for the collective. There are people who are providing information that actually might be somewhat false, but they still are serving their function. I don't want to go into that, like I just said, but here's my point. Here's what I'm trying to say. I think that it's sort of a nature of the external, internal reality. It's the nature of the internet. It's the nature of our very human desire to learn and expand ourselves, to want to be told things, want to anticipate things, want to wrap our minds around what's happening, what's coming, what's unfolding. And when people don't rely on their own connection to the energies, to their own ability to tap into the interconnected web of all energy that we're all united by, and they just start to kind of subscribe to, not the mass media outlets as like where we get all our information, but people on YouTube and whatever else, podcasts or whatever. It's still the same dynamic of getting the information externally, and you're still disempowering yourself just as much. It's just that you've changed your level of, allegiance from one matrix to another. We talk about the matrix as far as like a prison system that functions on the planet to keep humans disempowered to their true spiritual sovereignty and potential. It's kept life in a very specific, confined pattern of becoming that humans have inherited, and we don't question it and whatever. And there's lots of people who have incarnated at this time to see that for what it is and do things against the grain to help in the mass deviation from that structure, so that we can create what people call New Earth. But really, it's going to be the eradication of certain things that have been functioning on this planet via their replacement with new things, and a return to our true, more organic way of being. And then how that opens us, because the former system was a closed loop, the other one is an infinite becoming. It's going to open us to different things to experience, as far as like what it means to be a human, what it means to live on Earth. As the next decades unfold, this is going to be known in history, as we look back on it in 100 years or however many years, as the time that, we shifted into the multidimensional matrices of being able to evolve in an unlimited way. So it's not just a prison matrix that we refer to as the matrix. There's infinite energy matrices that people can get stuck in. So where my thoughts are today is the fact that as long as you're relying on external things to give you your information, you are still in, and of course, don't get me wrong, we can lean on each other and connect with people's insights and stuff, but it shouldn't be a waiting for something outside of yourself to happen. Because the more we wait for direction around like I don't know, say people are sitting around waiting for the government to finally acknowledge the existence of extraterrestrials. Like, how would you live your life if they did that? How would that change? Now, of course, it's going to change things that are outside of your control that will then impact your life, and we can't foresee necessarily that reality. But at the mental level, at the philosophical level of how you're validating your own existence, all of those shifts, you don't need to get, permission or validation from anybody outside of you to be able to explore and change in those ways. And I sense in the collective that a lot of people are ironically actually slipping into further states of disempowerment, even though they are rising up to the level of being open and interested in things like never before, like New Age spirituality concepts. So I feel like it's a sort of like a level of a rite of passage type of thing that I relate to, like I know what it's like to want to have the answers, do the research, and then have it make sense. But if you know, that's not always how it is. We are in a very intentionally blinded, narrow experience as humans. And I've been offline for a little while. I'm going to talk about it. I've been having a lot of bleed through interdimensionally from my other simultaneous selves, and my guides have reminded me that not everybody's soul exists in as many places as mine does. Old soul, lots of past lives, lots of future lives, lots of higher self understanding coming into who I am in this lifetime, why I'm here, why I want the things that I want, and why I'm creating what I'm creating. And it's complete structure. It was 11:11 when I looked at the clock. To be able to make a bunch of stuff happen. I'm not going to go into that, but I just wanted to share that. And I'm going to come back on to do a longer reading pretty soon and catch up with some of the messages that have been coming into me. But in general, I find that if anybody is struggling with like, what sources do I trust? What is the right way to go about staying current, staying present with the changes that are happening, all of that, I would say detox, like truly. And by that I mean like I did, like don't be on the internet, don't connect with other people's sources of channeling, not forever, because it's really fascinating and important and helpful, but just to the point where you are watching yourself. Like, say you don't interact with anybody for a week, it's possible to wake up and feel, even if you eat the same cereal and take the same shower and put on the same pants or whatever you're doing, it's possible to feel like today's a different energy. What does, if I'm a blank canvas awakening out of my slumber every morning, sometimes I wake up and I'm pissed for no reason. Maybe I slept well, still agitated. This is part of what being tapped in is like. You have to stop seeing everything as like, if this, then that. There are these larger circumstances affecting everybody that are not as easy to understand as just providing a reason as to why something is the way that it is. And so I think that in order to help ourselves, it's definitely a season of healing and becoming, where we're going to become our own best healers, our own best therapists, our own best doctors. Not that we can't seek the assistance of professionals in the world around us for any number of the needs that we have, but because our undoings and the makings of our greatest successes are deeply personal right now, but sort of always. They're deeply personal. And there are things that, even if you go to a therapist, you go to a doctor, you relay all these things, that's a sliver of the truth of what's going on with you. You are the only individual who actually understands. You have access to every single cell and particle in your body. You have an understanding that transcends, even if you were to sit in, the medical system and scanned every which way till Friday, like, CT, MRI, X-ray, diagnostic of this and that, blood work, you still, even with all of their fancy interpretations coming from very, well-educated systems, I'm not discounting modern medicine, whatever. I'm just saying that you are still the most connected to your situation, even if you don't have that information. When they read those scans, when they interpret that and make meaning out of it, you're still the one that feels and knows at that spiritual level, because you are your body. You are your conditions. You are your karma. You're the walking embodiment of the whole thing that's going on, the show, the performance of your existence, compiling itself, enacting itself every day. And so this is such an important time. I'm really glad that I'm actually giving this mini message ahead of November, because this is going to be a theme shifting. Well, now we're in Scorpio season. So death, transformation, rebirth, as we approach the year of the snake, the shedding of the skins is going to become, if you're not in the practice of phoenixing, I highly advise that you start to learn how to gracefully give up things and release things and get into a space of non-attachment, redefining what makes us happy and why, and how we can flourish despite a lot of descension, a lot of things moving down vibrationally, but a lot of things moving up vibrationally, right? And we're sort of still caught in this middle of experiencing ourselves in a void of like this true dualistic planet, right? Everything exists and there is bad and good to all of it. And what you fuel is very much how you're going to experience any amount of change, any amount of changed patterns over time, and how you can, just survive. I always try, when I think one of my biggest issues is trying to talk to too large of an audience at once. I want to use inclusive language, but I'm also being guided lately to really come down and like refine and hone my language as if I am talking to people who are awoken starseeds, because that's what I am, and that's what that's the messaging that I need to kind of cater to right now. So I try to talk to people who are maybe at any point along an awakening journey, but do expect some more specific, granular information about starseed ascension and activation in the coming weeks. And I'm sending really good vibes out there. If anybody missed me, I missed you too. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And it's a good time just to be with yourself and be with Mother Earth, and go find my dog and wishing everybody really well. Okay, more to come.